Well, Operation Get Promoted in the first season was a roaring success. Now is where the real save begins. How you doing, everybody, and welcome to part 7 of the Deportivo La Coruña save here on FM24. I'm Stu, thank you for joining me in today's video where we're going to do the season review, we're going to do a transfer window, we're going to try and get this squad ship-shape ready for La Liga 2 and hopefully maybe try and push on for back-to-back promotions. Wouldn't that be something? And if you're excited to see whether we can get the squad ready for such a momentous thing to try and do, then please don't forget to leave a big like on the video for me and do not forget to subscribe. It is completely free to do so and you'll make me a very happy chap. Nothing's happened since you were last with us other than, despite the fact that I think I might be wearing the same shirt, believe it or not, I'm actually recording on a different day. I was going to try and keep some continuity, but I'm aware that my hair is probably completely different. So we're going to get into it. We're going to have a look and see how we did. I mean, if you haven't watched the save, go back and watch it because, you know, why wouldn't you? Please. I'd love you to. But spoilers, it went very well. Very well indeed. We've already kind of buried the lead at the beginning. We're already promoted. We're in La Liga 2. Or La Liga Hypermotion, I think it's called. Either way, we got promoted. So let's try and do that again. And let's have a look at what we did to get us there. The first thing was transfers. Now, prefaced, some of these transfers that are on here were transfers that were not made by us. So take that in as we go. I mean, for example, Sevilla was already here, Valcarce was already here, Devo was already here, Vasquez was already here. You get the drift of it. The players we brought in, Javier Taveros for £500,000. Considering he's meant to be inconsistent, chef's kiss with him. 15 goals, 20 assists. He started 34 games. He played 43 in total. Was an absolute monster and was the signing of the season as well. Joaquin wasn't far away. £325,000. 33 starts, 9 substitution appearances, so made 1 appearance less than Taveros. 14 goals, 14 assists. Still very good. Tailed off in the second half of the season. Still chipped in every now and then, which was lovely to see. Wimmer came in January as a backup. Well, not even as a backup. He went into the first team. Did a very good job as a centre-back. Very happy with him. Similar with Kokorashvili. He came in as a midfielder. We will have him this season as well. But came in, did a solid job for us. Carrillo came in from Real Madrid. I think we've got him next year as well. Again, made a handful of appearances. Got an assist in there as well, but also did a good job. Alvarez came in as a goalkeeper. Had some good games. Had some not so good games as well. But I think he got let down by the defence a few times. But I'm really happy with him. And again, got him this season as well. Abner Felipe, not got him this season, but did a solid job as a backup left back. I was actually quite impressed with him at times. Scored a couple of really good goals as well. Hugo Rama was already here when we arrived, as was Angel, as was Navarro. We won't talk about Jamie Shackleton. Nothing really happened with him. And Puerto was already here as well. So, actually, that's a good set of transfers. I'm not going to bother showing you the transfers out too much because none of these players, I don't really know any of them, to be honest with you. So we'll just move on. But I'm really happy with the business that we did. Now, Primera Federación. Now, I still haven't fully got over the fact that there was that random playoff to play at the end. I didn't realise that was it. Now, the board expected us to win it. We did win it. We beat Real Madrid Castilla, I should say. We did end up beating them, which was fantastic. But, I mean, it's a weird one. I just assumed we'd win this group and that'd be it. But from what I gather, automatic promotion means winning this. The board wouldn't have actually cared that much if we didn't do this. As much as they wanted us to do it, I don't think it would have been a deal breaker. It would have been whether we'd have got promoted. Speaking of which, we did. 97 points in the end. We only lost 1 game all season. Drew 7 of them and won the league by 5 points. Delightful. When we opened the season with back-to-back 7-0 wins. That says everything. The only loss we had was against Real Union. I don't know why I said their name like that. If ever I say a name weirdly, it's because I'm trying to pronounce it in a way that sounds right, and then I immediately realise it's incorrect. But as you can see, after that loss, it was just absolute stunning form. A lot of times we battered teams, sometimes we squeaked through, but we showed a real resolve, and we got promoted, and as did Cornella as well. So they'll be joining us in La Liga 2. So that'll be fun. Moments to remember. Oh, I didn't look at the Copa del Rey, because we need to look at the Copa del Rey for these. 4-1 against Villarreal, 3-1 against Atletico Madrid. Not their B teams, their first teams. Excellent. But Getafe did put us to the sword in the quarterfinals, so I was a little bit sad about that, but we more than overachieved in that. Very happy with it. Right, moments to remember. One of the first games we played, Tarazona, 7-0. They had 2 red cards in this game as well, but the game was already over at that point. Lucas Perez with 3, Valcarce with a hat-trick as well, and Joaquin with a goal too. Match to remember, it had to be one of the 2 in the Copa del Rey. Villarreal being the one. That was the biggest shock because it was first. Battering them 4. They scored first. We obliterated them in the rest of the first half, and they couldn't touch us in the second. And goal of the season was from Ontiveros back in December. Will it let us show it? I think it might do. I'm interested because we've scored a couple of, dare I say, worldies this season. So let's just have a quick check and see which worldie this one was. I'm intrigued to see. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I'm sure it was spectacular. Let's have a look. Right, Ontiveros is on the wing here. Okay. To be fair, I mean, it's not a screamer from 30 yards, but he started on the wing, made his way into the penalty area with no help, and squeezed it in from a tightish angle. I can deal with that. I can definitely deal with that. I'm a bit surprised, actually, because Sevilla did score an absolute worldie, and I did expect him to get that, but it's fine. We're currently a 3-star team. That hasn't improved just yet. Maybe it will, possibly, before the season starts. Who knows? In terms of money, none of it really matters yet. We're literally in 1 season, so none of it will really matter. Shirt sellers. Perez is top. He is with us this season. Valcarce is as well. Ontiveros obviously will be. Joaquin is 2 and Villares is 2. I mean, 2 of those boys are ones we brought in. These 2 are old men, and he's a solid midfielder who is getting towards the point where he's going to be as good as he's going to get and will start to get worse. I don't think he's quite 30 yet, but he ain't far away. Team of the season. Let's have a look at this. Alvarez gets in, which I'm not overly surprised at, but I don't know, he's only here for half a season, so a little bit. Adart, Vasquez, Martinez and Balenciaga, none of them are over a 7. We did concede goals, but we still had one of the better defences in the league. But I'd probably agree with that, although the second half, I'm a bit surprised that these 2 are in here. But in the first half of the season, they did a decent job. Angel and Villares are the wrong way round, but other than... Apologies, the ghost opened the door. Villares and Angel are the wrong way round, but other than that, I'd probably agree with those 2. Although I would say that Kokorishvili probably would have been in there if he was here from the start of the save. And the front 3 is... Well, the front 4 is absolutely bang on. Joaquin, Valcarce, Ontiveros, Perez. That was the front 4. And it... I mean, unless anyone spectacular comes in, it's going to remain that for the following season. In terms of achievements, the ones on the right-hand side, if you played Football Manager before, you will be aware that is just from the save, so don't pay too much attention to those. In terms of how we've done, Manager of the Month for October, December, March, April and May, we did a good job. In terms of club awards, Perez is the player of the season. For the fans, young player is Kokorishvili. He's 24 years old. I think that's probably a bit old, to be honest with you. Signing is Ontiveros. I'd agree with that. Goal of the season, Ontiveros. Fair. Fine. Perez, top goal scorer with 47, which is almost as old as he is. Ontiveros with 20 assists has the most of those. Most player of the match awards with 11 is Lucas Perez. Highest average rating is Lucas Perez, hence why he's player of the season. And most passes per 90, Hugo Rama. Who cares? Competition awards. Haven't had them yet, I don't think. I mean, I'm imagining 1 or 2 of our players will be on there. I mean, the record breakers, you can read those yourself. Again, take those with a pinch of salt. They're kind of the ones that we're going to start the save with, and then we'll build on those as we go. History in the making. Technically, we've won 2 trophies. The Primera Federación Grupo 1, and then the Primera Federación as well. And then a couple of quotes. Then we've got the manager timeline, which we don't really care about. Right. What is our plan this season? Well, we need to talk about club vision and expectations. So let's go straight into this, because then we can talk about it. So, they want to play defensively solid football. I don't know if you've met me, boys, but I very much like scoring goals rather than defending. Best good defense is a very, very good offense, and some such and yada yada. Fine. I mean, we'll leave those 2. They're favoured. It is what it is. I don't really want to counter-attack. I mean, can I get rid of those? We'll try. Work within wage budget. I sort of did that last season. I wangled it. We were kind of completely like past our budget, and then I signed some of the old men to new contracts, and those new contracts ended up getting us that money. I'm just moving my light across just to give me a bit more light on my face. So it ended up working out okay. That's probably too much light, actually. Move that back over there. In terms of reputation, we probably have done that this season, and we will continue to the more that we improve the team and the more that we go up the leagues. 1-year contracts for over 33-year-olds. I don't really plan on signing any, but if any good ones come available, I will adhere to that. Our contract expires at the end of next season. We've got nothing else that's on here, so other than the end of next season, 25-26, top half finish and then playoffs. But there's nothing actually about this season. So, I mean, we'll suggest that. I'll just accept those, and they're favoured, so as long as we do well, it should be fine. I'm imagining we might get something else come up at some point, but, you know, I'm imagining if we do well, like I said, I imagine they won't be too bothered about how we play when we're doing it, especially if we, like, score loads of goals. Right. I mean, we haven't been giving the La Liga 2 aims. I'm going to say, I want to say top half, because I think we can. I mean, it feels like we've just been promoted. That's the sensible one to say. And right there is the problem. Right, mid-table it is then. I'm not going to say anything else other than that because I'll probably just balls it up. But let's go with that. Mid-table. That's kind of what I would like as a minimum, if I'm honest. But I think we can do better than that. Oh, I didn't want to go an extra day. Right, so that is kind of where I'm looking. Mid-table's got to be the benchmark. But if we can do better than that and get into the playoffs, I'll be really, really happy. In terms of the structure of the league for next season, let's have a quick nose at that and just see how it looks. So it's a 22-team league. There's 4 relegation spots, 2 automatic promotions, and then playoffs similar to the Championship to the Premier League. So we've got 3 chances to go up. And, I mean, we're looking in this region. We're looking at, if it's anything like this season, between 73 and 76 points, that kind of 70 to 80 point region. Maybe even the high 60s could be something if it's a low-scoring league. And then we're looking in the 80s above to try and get promoted. It's doable. It's very doable, I think. But, I mean, it is what it is. We'll go for it and we'll see what happens. We're not going to know how good we are until we're there. But we know some of the players we've scouted have lower star ratings or about the same star ratings as what we've got. And they're scouted as good La Liga 2 players. So we should have a decent team. Now, to help with that, we have signed players. Now, the players who are coming in are these guys. Now, Nicholas Lom, I'm going to pretend doesn't exist. He's a 2-star goalkeeper. Danny Calvo is a 3-star defender. If I don't know how to see how good he is, but he scouted as La Liga 2. As a Diego Gonzalez, he's technically 3.5-star, but that's as a wide centre-back, which we won't be using. Vladan Danilovic is someone I haven't shown you. Again, 3.5-star defensive midfielder. He'll come in and do a solid job for us. At 24 years old as well, he's going to be a good player for a while. I think he's going to be solid. And then I've also signed this guy. I actually signed this guy while I was doing the last episode. Mohab. He's a winger. He's 4-star. He looks great. He's 26 years old. He's going to come in, and I think he's going to be an absolute superstar for us. Is he the best? No. But if he is 4-star, he'll be a great competitor for Joaquin and Ontiveros as well. I think he'll do a really, really good job. Now, in terms of what we actually need to do to the squad, well, we need to do a fair bit, to be honest with you. Pereno is going to be here next season, but he's not going to be our starter. He's not going to be first choice. Our first choice is without question going to be Alvarez. Right back adult will continue. However, we do need another right back. So let me just clear the bench. Right back it is. Centre back partnerships. Vasquez, I think, is going to be here next season. I know both of these guys will be here next season. Vasquez will be here. Wimmer actually won't be. Wimmer's only on their half-season loan. I think. Is he on a half-season loan or have I made that up? Yeah, so we'll try and extend him if we can. But right now, as it stands, Wimmer will not be here. So we'll need to bring in another central defender. Carrillo will be here, though. That is someone who is going to be darkening our doors. Well, hopefully not darkening them, but he's going to be here either way. So we'll pop him there. And then the other Juan Martinez is going to be here as well. His contract runs until next season, the end of it. So I think we need at least one defender, ideally maybe 2, because Vasquez and Martinez are not necessarily the best. Left back, Felipe will not be here. And neither will Balenciaga, wherever he is. He hasn't retired just yet. He won't be here either. Both him and Sevilla, by the way, have accepted their staff roles. So although they're retiring, they will be with us as staff. So we need 2 left backs. That's something we desperately need. Central mid, Angel and Valares will both be here, which is obviously fantastic. We've then got Kokorishvili, who will be here. And then the other guy will be filling that role as well. So in theory, we don't need a defensive midfielder. If we can find someone better than Angel, because Angel is only about apparently 3-star. He's not, because he's not playing as a central midfielder. But at 31, if we can try and replace him, I'd quite like to. Wing, I think we're pretty good. Peke's kind of, he's not a wonder kid, but he is one of our good young superstars. Potentially 4.5-star player. So he's great. And then we've got Ontiveros as well. We know also that we've got Joaquin. And then we've also got, well, we've got the new guy coming in. And we've also got Mella as well. Davo will be leaving. So wingers, we're pretty well started. Attacking midfield, Valcarce will start the season unless we get a superstar in. But this is a position we need someone in. We have got Rama. Davo is obviously leaving the club, as is Jamie Shackleton. And Salva Sevilla, as mentioned, he's retiring. So that's a position we definitely need covering. Striker as well. We very much need a striker. We haven't got anyone coming in. Well, we've got a youngster coming in, but he's not going to be any good. He's not been brought in for that. We've got Kevin, who has scored 1 or 2 goals for us. 2, in fact. So we have got him, but we're not going to be relying on him. That's not going to happen. So that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players to sign. Now, granted, we're going to have 2 of them in centre-back. I think centre-back's done because we got those guys coming in. Midfielder as well. So actually, that's 2 positions already filled. Maybe even 3 if one of the centre-backs can play as a wing-back. Then we need an attacking midfielder. We've got an extra winger coming in as well there, so maybe we can jig things around there. Then we need a striker. So it might even only be 2 or 3 players that we actually need. But if we get anyone who comes up on a scout report who looks like they would be an improvement, we will go for them. And then if anyone comes in to try and like sign a player, we might consider moving them on. Depending on who it is and depending on how much they want to spend. That will be the kind of big kind of thing that will kind of judge it. In terms of players who that just leaves not accounted for, Sevilla again retiring, Wimmer leaving us, Felipe leaving us, Shackleton leaving us, Balenciaga retiring. Xavi Navarro did not renew his contract. He will be gone. Davo going back to his parent club. Rama is still going to be here. I might try and move him on. I don't really see a future for him. He's just not good enough. If I can move him on to one of those 2, I will. The 2 lone goalkeepers will obviously be coming back, but we won't be that bothered. We might try and move 1 or 2 of them on. This guy, probably move him on, not good enough, or we'll put him into the B team. This guy, I definitely want to use. Can't because he's joining Freiburg. Never mind, sorry, Arno's gone. Barcia will probably, in fact, his contract's running out. We're not renewing it, so that's fine. He's gone. Somalinos, I mean, he's on loan at the moment. He's got a bit of potential. We probably will loan him out again. Puerto and Rios don't really matter. Delgado, we definitely need to utilise, actually. I've kind of forgotten about him, so let's pop him up here. Winger-wise, I don't think we need to touch. And then Munoz will be coming back as well, and we'll probably just put him in the B team. We'll move him on. So we've got business to do. In terms of our budget at the moment, we've currently got a budget of like £42,000. Potential wages offered is currently £31,500. But then we've got players moving out, which will kind of make up some of the difference. At the moment, we've got a £1.8 million transfer budget. So, if we consider that the positions that we need to fill are the 2 wing-back positions, an attacking midfielder and a striker, that's 4 positions, 5 players because we need 2 left-backs. I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident of what we can do with that, to be honest with you. Now, I don't need to renew the loan of Wimmer because we've got the 2 guys coming in. But if I can, I will, because he did do a decent job for us. So we'll see whether we can do that. But this is all going to be about just bringing players in and seeing whether we can get any improvements in areas other than the ones that we've just mentioned. I mean, if I can get another centre-back in, I might move Martinez or Vasquez on. Maybe. I might move Martinez on because Vasquez can play as a midfielder. This is all going to be for me to work out. So I'm going to go away. We're going to do some transfer business. And, I mean, I normally come back on the 1st of July. I don't know whether it's worth doing that because we're on the 11th of June already. But we'll come back at some point in the window, probably when like the transfer kind of thing. It probably will still be the 1st of July, to be honest. We'll go through what we have done. We'll have a look at the new players coming in. We'll see what the squad looks like. And we'll see how close we are to starting the season. And hopefully getting back-to-back promotions. That's probably not going to happen, but we'll give it a go. Well, I did get a little bit excited and did go to the 2nd of July, but I'm very happy with the business that we've done. And I've already got some more business on the way because I got excited as well. So let's have a look at what we've already done. And then we'll look at what I'm going to try and do. So in terms of players we've already brought in, this is the list of them. So this is a mix of, well, the majority of them are actually pre-contracts that we've arranged. And we've arranged quite a few. So we'll start off with this one, Moha. He's a winger who'll be effectively competing with Joaquin. He's better than Joaquin. I mean, I'm pretty happy with this as a transfer. This is kind of a late in the day one that we did as well. I think he's coming in. I think he'll be a little superstar. 4-star current ability. Not much potential on top of that, but I think he's probably going to be one of the best players in the squad, I think, and I'm pretty happy with that. Next, we've got Diego Gonzalez, one of the centre-backs he brought in, 29 years old. He's got a few under-21 caps, which is great. He's a good, solid centre-back. I think he'll do a really solid job for us. We then also signed this goalkeeper who has gone straight into the B team because he's nowhere near as good as I thought he was going to be. He was only ever going to be a backup anyway, so we'll probably try and move him on next season. We then got someone for the future, A-Man. He's got potentially 4-star potential. He's a player who is not going to be used this season. I'm going to try and loan him out if I can. He's already on the loan list. If I can, great. If I can't, well, it is what it is. We've then got Danny Calvo, another centre-back, 30 years old, bit more experience, but not as much experience as some of the players in the squad, i.e. he's not a really old man. But again, another player who I think will come in and he'll do a solid job for us. We've then got Theo. I believe this is one of the Zidane kids. Now, I signed him purely because I believe he's one of the Zidane kids. If we brought him in on a free. If I can get money for him at some point, I'll be happy. If he develops into a decent player, I'll be happy. For now, he's come in as a rotation option, as an attacking midfielder. I think he's got the ability to do something with some of the stats he's got, with some of the attributes he's got, sorry. But, you know, this is probably one that didn't work out quite as well as I thought it would. Left back is sorted. I think we paid money for this guy, Dumbia. Let me just double check. I think we got him on a free. I thought we paid money, but we haven't. We're just paying his wages. But he's come in. He'll be our new left back. I think he's an upgrade on what we had with Balenciaga and with the other guy as well. I think he is an upgrade on that, so I'm quite happy with him coming in too. We've then got Danilovic, who's the midfielder that I signed. Although there is another one that I'm very excited about. He'll come in, he'll be a nice little rock here. I'm going to play him as a half-back when he plays as a defensive midfielder. And this one came out of nowhere. Andre Gomez, as in formerly of Everton and Barcelona. Andre Gomez, also formerly of Valencia, and also played for a little bit for Lille. I'm stunned we've got him, to be honest with you. I'm absolutely stunned. He'll be coming in as our playmaker, playing there. I don't know whether we'll keep an attacking midfield playmaker. We might change that, but I think that's a stunning signing personally. Yes, he's 30 years old. I don't really care. I think that's a great signing. And then this is another one for the future that we've signed from, I think, Real Madrid Castilla, I can't remember, but he is on the loan list again. He's not going to be one for this season, but he's got the potential to hopefully help us in seasons to come. So that's the business that we have done. I also then went and had a nose on trialists. So we brought in this guy who I've been chasing for like the majority of last season, Zardas, Portuguese, under 21 international, obviously no longer at 26. I'm looking at him as the attacking midfielder. I think he'd be solid. He's got great long shots. I need that in my life. And also, he looks like he's a bit of a set-piece specialist as well, which is something that we don't have, and I feel like it would be beneficial. So if we could get him in, I'd be very excited with that. When I was trying to bring him in before, he was being difficult. I'm hoping he won't be difficult now. So we'll see what happens, but I'd really like to bring him in. Also, Victor Maleo. This is a guy I'm really familiar with. I'm sure he's like formerly of Valencia, I want to say. Atletico Madrid, sorry. I brought him in because he's a name I knew, I'll be honest with you. Now, I do think he'd be a quality player. I don't really have room in the squad for him. We've got more than enough wingers. If he was willing to... I was going to say if he's willing to be attacking midfielder, not with the ability like that. I mean, if he was willing to be a striker, I'd consider him as like maybe an emergency striker. The problem is I know he's going to want a lot of money. So that's probably one that's not going to work out. Andres Martin is a winger who can play as a striker. I'm considering him at the moment. 24 years old, 621 caps. Never scored a goal for them, which doesn't bode well. Hasn't scored many goals in his career, but I don't think he's been used as a striker. Now, if we were to use him as a striker, he could play advanced forward. He's quick, he's got acceleration enough to do it. There's a few bits in his mental attributes that are kind of a little bit lacking. That puts me off him a little bit. His finishing's okay. His first touch is fantastic. Passing's really good as well. There's elements of him that make me want to go for him, elements of him that make me want to run in the other direction. I'm not 100% sure on him, if I'm honest. Guillem Jaime? We'll go Jaime. Guillem Jaime. is come in on trial as well, 25 years old, can cover both sides of fullback. This would be a cover fullback. We do need a right back, we do need another left back. I don't think this is the answer to either of them. I think this is a backup for both, because he can play on both sides admirably and do a decent job. So if we do keep him, it would be as a backup, nothing more. Another attacking midfielder here, Gustavo Sangare, a Burkina Faso full international at 27 years old. This is another person who could do the attacking midfield position, but really could only do that position. Zardas could do wing. I don't really want to have him as wing, but the only thing with this guy is he's not as good at set pieces, and the set pieces is what's really swaying it. I mean, if we compare him to Zardas for a second, I'm saying Zardas, it's Zadas. Zadas. We'll go with Zadas. We compare the two of them. I mean, mentally, Sangare is better. They're sort of even over on the physicals. Technically, though, Zadas is so much better. Now, I will say Sangare has got a kind of an ace up his sleeve, which is his tackling's decent. That could really help out, actually, having someone further up the pitch who's got good tackling. But, I mean, corners, crossing, dribbling, finishing, first touch, free kicks. Okay, his heading's not as good. Long shots. Okay, his long throws and marking aren't as good. Penalty taking. Their passing's actually the same. Tackling's much better, but his technique is much better for Zardas as well. And his work rate isn't quite as high. That's one against him. The ones over here that he's better at are his leadership and his flair. Determination's about the same. Almost everything else is in Sangare's favour, which makes me think, do we try and sign both of them? And then do we re-establish our winger situation? That's kind of another conversation. And then we signed this guy Raniel, who's a centre-back, who I won't be signing because I just won't be. And then, yeah, the full list of all of these players. So we know this guy is a good La Liga 2 player. We know this guy is potentially a good La Liga player. That's what makes me think about potentially trying to sign him. This guy, decent La Liga player. This guy probably would be good enough at this level. This guy could be a decent La Liga player. This guy we're going to pretend doesn't exist. I did have a look on this list as well just to see. In terms of all the transfers that I'm trying to put in for at the moment, there's been a few. I did try and get Wimmer back. It didn't work. This guy put in an offer, they rejected it. I don't really know if I want him, though. He looks like he's great on star ratings, but actually as a central defender, I don't necessarily think... Well, sorry, not a central defender, as a right back. I think he'd be a bit of a liability. I think he'd be better if he was further forward, but we don't play with a wide midfielder. We play with an attacking wide midfielder. I did also go... Well, I have gone in for this guy. In fact, let's go with the ones that have been rejected. I also put in a trial for Santi Cazorla. That got rejected. In terms of the ones that we are going for, this guy, a right back, Mantilla from Santander, he would be our first choice right back. He's more defensive minded. We're newly promoted. I feel like that makes sense. But also, he's 24. He's got room to grow with some of these stats up here. But I think he actually, his leadership and his determination and his work rate and his pace really sell him for me. So we've put an offer in. We're waiting to see whether that gets accepted or rejected. It will probably get rejected because we've undercut it. We'll see what happens with that. He'd be one I'd like. This is one I don't think will work out. It's a loan offer for a player called Wanlu from Sevilla. He looks really, really good for his age. I think he could be a quality player going forward. But I've just got a feeling, just from what I've seen on like reports and news and stuff, I've got a feeling that's going to get rejected. I don't think we're going to get him. This is an interesting one. This is an offer that has been accepted. Well, not been accepted, sorry, because it's a pre-contract from Brazil. But MT, I don't know who this guy is. And I love the fact that his name is just a couple of letters. I mean, let's have a look on his information. Matias Nunes Fagundes de Araujo. I can see why you might want to go with something like MT. It just makes things a lot easier. He could be decent. Now, I don't necessarily think he'd be a starter for us. I would intend to bring him in and then loan him out to get some experience. But I think he's a Brazilian. I mean, I'm just more thinking of that more than anything. And also, bringing him on a free, we could get some value for him. I just think it'd be an interesting one to do. I've also got a couple of strikers who I'm trying to loan in. Pio Esposito, I know nothing about, other than his value's up to £23 million, and it was at Spezia last season, where he scored 15 goals in Serie B. We're in the equivalent of Serie B in Spain. I'm thinking it might be a decent decision. I'm also assuming that he is related to, I mean, I could be completely wrong on this, either Salvador Esposito or Sebastiano Esposito. I don't know that, but I would assume. But at 19 years old, if we can bring him in for a season or two, I think he'd be amazing. If not, Nacho Ferry is the next option. Good first touch, well, decent first touch, good finishing, good heading. He's tall. He's relatively quick for his height for this level. For Frankfurt too, he scored 46 in 58. He scored 1 goal in 7 appearances for the first team as well. I think he could be a sleeper hit for us if we brought him in. Now, the only thing is, I play with an advanced forward. We'd have to probably change that to maybe a pressing forward. I don't want to use a target forward. That's the only kind of thing that puts me off signing him, but I have put a loan in offer anyway, because if we loan him in, you know, could always cancel the loan if they wanted to. So that's where we're at in terms of what we're trying to bring in. Now, what does that mean for the squad? Well, this is how it's currently looking with the players that we've got. There's obviously the gap in, I've also put Maleo here just to see what it looked like. Let me just get rid of him. Zardas as well, let's get rid of him because he's technically not part of the team. Pop you there as well, and then we'll just change that. So in terms of the business that we definitely need to do, they're the 4 positions that we need. Fullbacks on each side, 1 of each. We need an attacking midfielder. We need a striker. Other than that, jobs are good and job is done. We've brought in Gonzalez, we've brought in Calvo. They'll definitely help out with things. Vasquez might be on his way out because he wants a new contract, but he wants to be a guaranteed starter and he wants far too much money. He's probably going to get binned out the door. So we might need another central defender, but there's plenty of those knocking about, so that might not be an issue. But yeah, the fullbacks isn't going to be a problem. I mean, I think one of those positions is going to be filled by this guy. So, I mean, even if I just put him like in the left-back one, for example, just as a kind of a cover position at the moment, pop him there, all of a sudden we just need a right-back. Fantastic. Attacking midfield, we've got 2 very good options who have been loaned in, Sangare and Zardas. And Zardas, I think, is going to be the one that I would like to use. Let me just change him back to playmaker. I don't know whether I want him to be a playmaker, actually. He prefers to be an attacking midfielder. Let's give him what he wants as an attacking midfielder for now. That then helps that, and then it just becomes a right back and a striker. And then in terms of what we've got to do with that, well, the board aren't letting me spend all of this on one player, but we've got £33,000 a week to spend and £500,000. I mean, if we wanted, we could convert that to like that. And then all of a sudden we've got almost £1 million to spend. We've got the potential to do a really good transfer window here. Now, in terms of the squad, obviously that's an 11 missing a couple of players. Up until substitute 11, that's a full squad. And it's close to being, like, in some ways, the squad from last season. Pereno, Adok, Calvo, Vasquez and Dembia as the defence. Kokrashvili and Valares as the midfield. Feel sad for these two because they're not going to get a look in. Although, I mean, to be fair, Danilovic isn't actually better than Valares by star rating, so they could probably rotate. But either way, we've got those 2 in there. Joaquin, at the moment, is out for Moha, because Moha, I'm going to give him a chance because Joaquin just wasn't very consistent, ironically, when Ontiveros is meant to be the inconsistent one. We've got Moha, we've got Zardas and Ontiveros there, we've got Joaquin, we've got Valcarce, we've got Peke there, and again, it's likely that we'll start with Valcarce because of how good a season he had last season. Ontiveros isn't getting shifted from left mid, but we've got Peke as a youngster who is full of potential, who we do need to get game time into. So I will be trying to get game time into him. Worst case scenario, if we don't think that's going to happen, we'll throw him out on loan. And then striker-wise, at the moment, we've got Perez and that's it. But it's not true, though, because we have got Kevin. But Kevin really isn't the quality of player that we need for this level. So we need to do something about him. I mean, apparently he is a leading player for the division below. So we might even loan him out and try and get him up a bit, even though he's technically at his potential. But that's the full 11 we've got. And then at the moment, we've got Martinez, who, to be fair, I was going to transfer. And I was going to put up for transfer. And I keep forgetting to do that. Let's pop him up for like... Let's put him up for 40,000 and just see if anyone wants to come in for him. We've got him who we're going to try and get rid of. But if he stays, it's not the end of the world. We've got Theo Hernandez. Goodness me, I'm not a Paris Saint-Germain or AC Milan or wherever he plays. We've got Theo, who again, I'm pretty sure is Zidane. I probably should double check that. Yeah. And he is Fernandez. I was very close, actually. So we've got Theo Zidane. As a cover player who we've just signed. We've got Kevin as a cover striker, and we've got Delgado, who I'm going to try and loan out because I just don't think he's going to get ahead of any of these players for experience, and I think we should probably get him some experience. Although I could loan out Peke and hang on to Delgado. I'm just thinking I could do that because Delgado has got less potential. There's less to screw up with him, but then he is less consistent. So I'm thinking of actually, if we include Pepe in the 4, he'll get game time. I'm thinking about this. And also there's Maleo to think about if we even try and sign him. But that's what we've got. So that leaves us with, obviously, there's a few players here who are the trialists. We've got Angel, who I'm going to try and move on. We've got Rama, who I'm desperately going to try and move on. We've got Sanchez, a goalkeeper. He's on the transfer list. Mella, as much as I was trying to use him last season, he's just not going to be good enough. So I'm actually going to pop him on the transfer list as well. That feels like a sensible thing to do when he's just not going to get used. And by the time it needs to be something where we need to think about players who are homegrown, i.e. when we're in Europe, he's not going to be good enough anyway. Somalinos is maybe going to be a player we can use. I mean, he doesn't like big games, but he's on the loan list, so we'll try and loan him out. Puerto we're going to try and get rid of. And Rios we'll hang on to just because we've got one of our own goalkeepers there. And Munoz is the guy that we're going to loan out. So almost all of those players are going to go, apart from, well, no, all of them are going to go actually in some way, shape or form. And then we've got these guys who we're going to try and do something with. I don't know whether we'll keep any of them. If it's any of them, it's going to be Maleo or Sangare rather. Zadas is someone I'm thinking desperately of having just for the set pieces. Because again, I don't think we've got anyone in our squad who's as good at set pieces as he is. But I think everything's coming along quite nicely. We just need to really stick the landing on right back and on striker. Now, striker's not desperately important immediately because of Lucas Perez. But Lucas Perez is 35. He is a very good player. Nothing against 35-year-olds. He's a very good player. But at this level, he's going to start dropping down. He's got 52 and 53 to the Deportivo La Coruña. If he maintains that level this season, he'll do a very good job for us in this level. If he doesn't, we will need to replace him, and it's better to have the replacement in straight away. It has been tricky to find that replacement. I don't know whether we have identified that replacement yet, but there are a number of players who we are looking at. So fingers crossed one of them will fit the bill. Right, I'm going to go away and try and do some more wheeling and dealing, and hopefully we'll get those last few places sorted and we'll be ready in time for the start of the season. Or I will balls up the end of this transfer window and all of the good work we've done will be for nothing. Okay, we are a week out from the first game of the league season. More transfers have been made. Not many, but we have made a few more. So you are up to date with us in terms of Gomez, Doumbia, Munoz, who's gone out on loan. Spoilers if you didn't already know that. Diego Gonzalez, Lom, Teo, I keep going to go to Teo Hernandez, Theo Zidane, or just Theo, Danny Calvo, Moha, Ayman, Danilovic. All of these players who we brought in on free transfers. We have also secured the striker that we want, and it's Francisco Pio Esposito, who is exactly who I thought he was. He is the brother of both Sebastiano and Salvatore Esposito. If you've played Football Manager before, you're probably aware of Sebastiano Esposito because he is a bit of a, I don't know about a legend or a cult hero. I know this guy being an absolute superstar for me in multiple saves. And, I mean, he isn't the player that he once was, don't get me wrong, but my word, he's been a good player for me in the past. So it's kind of cool to bring in his, anyway, he is his younger brother, 18 or 19 years old, and in pre-season he's looked a tiny little bit inconsistent. However, he did score 6 goals in his last friendly, so, you know, there is that. That technically classed as a last season transfer, so we'll have a look at this season. We've only brought in technically 3 players this season, but we've spent some money that we don't really have. The first thing we did was we brought in Zadas. So Zadas is in. He is going to be with us. Is he going to be a playmaker? Is he going to be a right winger? I don't really know. I'll explain a little bit more. But the last friendly, which I actually played, he scored 2 free kicks because he's excellent, honestly. I don't know whether he's going to start every week, but he is someone who can throw in there if we need a set piece or two. So I'm quite content with having him in the squad. Very content indeed. We then also went and signed Nicholas Wimmer. We had him last season. He did a good job for us in that half a season. We brought him in for this season on a permanent transfer. He'll be a good defender for us this season. He will need upgrading if we end up going to the next league, if we end up getting promoted to La Liga. But he'll do at this level for us very much so. And probably be a handy backup in La Liga as well, to be fair. And then the final transfer is Trilly. Now, Trilly is our starting right back going forward. And we signed him for £1.3 million. Obviously, we didn't spend all of that up front. And he's a good player for La Liga 2 side. He's also formerly a Deportivo player. Now, with 4-star potential, there is a chance that if we have him and keep him to the point where we get into Europe, even if he's not starting every week, he could be a homegrown club player because he literally started his career here at Deportivo. So I'm thinking long term with that as a transfer. Now, is he going to be good enough to be a La Liga top player? Probably not. But I do think he'll be good enough to play a part in a La Liga team. I think he's going to be our future. He's going to be a forever right back. Whether he's the starting right back or not is another matter. But with that, it's almost transfer business done. And we've got a week to go before the start of the season against Tenerife. We've got one more friendly to play as well. So we've got not very long at all. But I'm pretty content with what we've done. Now, in terms of the squad, I haven't actually updated this, so give me a moment. In terms of the squad, goalkeeper, we're fine. We're really happy with Alvarez. Pereno, we know, can do a decent job as well. At one point before he got injured, he was leading the league in terms of clean sheets. So we know he can do a job for us. Right back, sorted. Trilly, Adot, Carrillo can cover. Centre back, loads of options at the moment. I'm trying to move both Vasquez and Martinez on. If I can keep one of them, I will do. But both of them are looking to go on the way out. And, well, if they do, great. If they don't, they don't. But we've still got a good set of centre-backs when they're gone. Left back is the area that we desperately do need someone at the moment. We've just got Stumbia. We need someone else in. I'm working on it. Centre defensive mid. Defensive midfield, which is now half back. Danilovic and Villares are the two. Vasquez and Gonzalez can both cover there, but these are the main two we're focusing on. The next position is now playmaker. I have confirmed kind of with myself that I'm going to keep this as a deep line playmaker. Andre Gomez and Kokorishvili could both do a sensational job there. I've got Villares and Danilovic there just because they're the other defensive midfielders. Right wing, Moa, Joaquin, Peque, Ontiveros, Valcarce, which is there for a reason, which we'll get onto in a moment, and Zardas. Zardas probably should be a little bit higher than that, and Peque probably shouldn't be as high, but I want to get Peque game time this season to try and fulfill some of that potential. Left-hand side, Ontiveros, Moha, Peque, Valcarce, Joaquin. Not surprising, the only person who's not on there is Zardas, who cannot play there. Attacking midfield, Lucas Perez is second on this list. There's a reason for that. I played him in the last friendly, and granted, it's a friendly against a really, really poor team. But in that friendly, battered them 17-1. Now, they're a terrible team. However, we did actually start Perez as the attacking midfielder. He did go to striker in the second half, but he got assist for the first goal. Esposito, you can see, was on fire as well. In that first half, he did score as well. He got assists, but he linked up the play really well. Him and Esposito looked like they had a nice partnership. It really worked with the wings as well. Perez might go there. If Perez goes there, it does kind of raise a question for Valcarce, who had such a good season last season. But at the moment, Perez is going to be better than him. So I think Valcarce may no longer be a guaranteed, nailed-on starter in that position. So the order of this might change. It might end up going with Perez at top, and then Zardas might go second and Valcarce might be third. Striker at the moment, we've got Esposito, who's top. Perez is going to be second. Moha, it can play there, and he did actually score there in that friendly. He's going to be third. We've also got this guy coming in, MT. I mean, he's coming in. He's on a free transfer. We could sign him now. We're not going to. We're going to wait and bide our time until he comes into us. That's gone fun, which is really nice. Poor positional depth. I mean, we've got 4 people in there, so I don't know what it's on about. It's because Perez has now moved there. If I move Perez down, it will kind of sort itself out. But Perez at the moment, I'm actually debating putting him in that position. And I think he could do a really good job there. I think he'll do a better job there than Valcarce. Then we've got Zardas, who can play there. Tio, I'm currently loaning out because there isn't space for him in the team. And I'm hoping if he gets regular game time, I'm looking at the moment at the league below us, where we were last season. If he can go to Primera Federación and he can get game time there, he might come back to us as a 3-star player, having played a full season with a good team. And maybe, just maybe, we don't need to worry about Valcarce or Perez when they go because we got Theo. I don't know whether I called him Theo Hernandez. Then if I did, apologies. I'm just going to try and call him Theo rather than overcomplicating it. Or I might just name him Zidane. The new Zidane, literally. So really, the only thing we need to do is left back. Is the long way of saying all of that. Now, I'm trying to bring in a left back from Braga. I don't know whether this is going to work. He is on a lot of wages, £6,500, and they would want him to start a lot, but he does look like he could be decent. Now, he's more of an attacking left back, which I've got no problem with at all. I think Trilly is more of a defensive right back, if I remember correctly. Let's have a quick double check. Yeah, he is more of a defensive one. Not necessarily great at it, but he is more of a defensive one. So, maybe we just go for that and bring him in. I was trying this guy right back, but we don't need him anymore. I've had a couple of kind of thoughts about what to do here or there. To be fair, our wage budget is still sensational, so we can probably pop that up a little bit, get a bit more money in there. I mean, I'm going to have another look around in this next week to try and find a left back we can sign, but at the moment, that is the only position that we actually need covering, and in attacking midfield, if anything, we've got too much depth. Now, Valcarce can play on the wing. He did play on the wing for a bit in the last game on the left and did a decent job, so I'm not against the idea of him doing that. But he is 31 years old. He is going to start getting worse at some point. I'm also kind of thinking if anyone shows interest in him, his value is relatively high. I don't want to move him on too early because that season was very, very good. 17 goals, 9 assists from attacking midfield as a playmaker. Bearing in mind, playmaker's not really meant to shoot. I would feel really bad if I moved him on too quickly and didn't give him a chance in this league. But I've got to go with what's going to give us the best opportunity at getting as high up in the league as possible. I'm actually going to turn it off and have him as an attacking midfield on support. We've got to do it right. We've got to do it fair. So I don't really know what the solution is. But I'm going to go and play that last friendly, try and do a bit of wheeling and dealing. And then I'll be back with you before the first game of the season. And we'll have a look at what the squad is that we've assembled. And just like that, it's opening day of the season and transfer business has officially been completed because we have brought in a left back. We have brought in this guy, Chris Adburp. Goodness me, that got in the way. Cristo Romero, not Christian Romero, not that one. Cristo Romero. He's on loan from Augsburg. He's a bit injury prone. He's only 2.5 star, but he'll be a decent enough left back to use if we need to throw someone else in there. That is the squad done. I mean, we've got a good bunch of players. We've got players who are down as being unregistered and ineligible. I mean, the ineligible ones are players who are here on trial. The unregistered ones, I think I've misunderstood the rules because I thought if players were registered for the B team, they could play in first team games. But obviously that isn't the case because these guys are showing up as not available. So I may have misunderstood something there. That doesn't really matter though. That is the squad. The first game is against Tenerife. And that'll be coming in the next video. So before we do that, just to go over everything, we already went over the transfer business last time, but if we have a quick look at the business that we've done, we didn't spend any money on most of the transfers that we did, which were technically before the start of the season. That's all of those ones from Danilovic down there. We've already gone through those in a little bit of detail. I mean, I think we've got a great set of players there. I'm really, really happy with them. And then we did add on 4 extra players. Zardas on a free, Nicholas Wimmer on a £1.1 million transfer, 1.3 for bringing Trilly back to the club, and Cristo Romero, who we brought in on loan. In terms of players out, I think we should probably round that up as well. Obviously, there's a few players who we've loaned out, but the players that we've let go, Danny Garcia, who we did try and get some game time into, but really, it just was never really going to be good enough, I don't think. We let him go, to be honest, on a free because we just released him from his contract. Navarro went on a free as well because he is aging. Mario Soriano, this is something I had nothing to do with. I'm gutted about this one, but to be honest with you, it was probably me not noticing his contract was up, or it was prearranged. I don't know which one it is. But he's no longer at the club. Victor Munoz is someone who we brought in this season and we've loaned out to get some experience because he's not quite at the level we need him to. And then we've got a few others here. Ayman has gone out on loan. He's someone we brought in this season as well, just mainly to sell on, if I'm being honest with you. David Mellor has gone. He has left on a permanent because, again, we've got too many players ahead of him who are better than him. Decent fee for him. And a couple of loans, Alberto Sanchez and Raul Alcaina. Honestly, I'd rather get rid of these on a permanent, but it is what it is. And then Jose Angel is one of the big ones that's gone. He wouldn't get into the team. He's not at the level that we need him to. Last season, he worked at that league. This league, he just wouldn't be good enough. He's gone. Went for 225k. And Hugo Rama has gone as well. Again, another player who we thought last season could be a decent player for us, but really not quite what we're looking for. He's gone as well for 175k. So we've brought in £500,000. We've spent 2.3, and some of that is, of course, on the Never Never. So I'm really happy with the business that we've done. In terms of league prediction, I've looked at this. I want to look at it again. Predicted 6th. I'll take that. I'll take that all day long. The club wants us to finish mid-table. I mean, I'd like to think we can very much do mid-table if the league prediction has us being 6th. I'd be really happy with that. But that's going to do it for today's video. That's going to do it for this season review, transfer special, introduction into the new season, introduction to La Liga 2. Next episode, the real save begins. We attempt to get out of La Liga 2. We attempt to get into La Liga proper. And it'll be another hurdle for us to try and cross. And I think that's going to be the really big jump. Can't wait to see whether we can do it in one season. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have enjoyed, do not forget to leave a big like on the video. And don't forget to subscribe as well. It is completely free to do so. And you'll make me a very happy chap. I've been Stu. You guys have been awesome. And I will see you next time. Cheers.